your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Alberta Justice Minister Casey Madhu has been relieved of his duties over a call he made to Edmonton's Police Chief Dale McPhee about a $300 distracted driving ticket. Premier Jason Kenney says he's asked Madhu to step aside while an independent investigator examines the facts of the case to determine whether Madhu interfered in the administration of justice. In a statement, Casey Madhu had this to say, quote, "To be clear, at no point did I request that the ticket be rescinded. I would never do that. However, in that particular call, I regret raising the issue at all with the Chief McPhee. I paid the ticket fully and promptly." Madhu, who is Nigerian-born, says he called the chief after he received the ticket, but only to seek assurances that he was not being racially profiled or singled out for surveillance, given his political position. He says he now understands why people have concerns about the call itself. Energy Minister Sonia Savage will assume Madhu's duties in the meantime. The Alberta NDP Justice critic spoke about this to the media on Tuesday. MLA Irfan Sabir says Casey Madhu needs to resign.
Casey Madhu must resign. He cannot be on leave of absence or a paid vacation. He cannot sit in cabinet without portfolio. And stepping back is not the same as stepping down. He must resign. Let's remember the facts of this matter. The Attorney General received a ticket for distracted driving in a school zone last March. He chose to engage with senior law enforcement, the Chief of Police, regarding the penalty levied against him. He called him directly. Madhu used his position as Attorney General to initiate this conversation with the Chief of Police. And regardless of whether he asked the chief to cancel the ticket or not, it is political interference to make that call.
Our legislative reporter and the Alberta correspondent with the National Post, Tyler Dawson, joined us this week from Edmonton to discuss what was behind that call to Edmonton's police chief if Casey Madhu says he didn't call to talk about the ticket.
Well, it's a great question. And the reason that Madhu gave was that he'd phoned regarding concerns about racial profiling and also concerns that perhaps he was being watched in a similar fashion to Shannon Phillips, the Lethbridge NDP MLA, who's had this sort of long-running conflict with the Lethbridge Police Service. But as you say, he claims that he didn't ask to have the ticket dismissed, and I believe the CBC had spoken to Chief McPhee, who had confirmed that. But of course, huge drama resulting of this because he is the Justice Minister. Therefore, he's sort of, the top lawman, in the province, phoning about to discuss a ticket that he got.
You can catch more of that interview with Tyler Dawson coming up later on in the show. Meanwhile, Drew Barnes, MLA for Medicine Hat Cypress, also joined Hal Roberts for Medicine Hat to discuss why he has a problem with the Casey Madhu incident, even though Madhu says the call to the chief was not about the distracted driving ticket.
You see this as a severe conflict of interest?
Yeah, it's even worse. Time-honored Westminster parliamentary tradition that you do not interfere with a constituent's legal ongoings, never mind your own. And, clearly, that line was crossed. And for that reason, trust has been lost in the minister. Trust has been lost in the premier and the Kenney government again. And for that reason, I believe that Minister Madhu should be removed from cabinet.
Now, Premier Kenney has called for an investigation into the matter. Is there any way back from this for MLA Madhu?
It's absolutely clear, Hal. The Edmonton police chief said that the Minister Madhu called him. The minister admitted that he called him within minutes of getting the ticket. So what's left to investigate? A time-honored parliamentary tradition was broken, and the price for that, the repercussions are to lose your position.
In other news, Alberta's top court upheld the sentence of a man who killed a Calgary Stampeders football player outside of a nightclub in 2016. 3 appeal court justices unanimously dismissed the challenge from Nelson Lagella, who was found guilty of second-degree murder in the death of Mylan Hicks. Lagella was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 18 years for shooting Hicks over a spilled drink. Up next, the government of Alberta considering replacing RCMP with an independent provincial police force, but at what cost? That's after the break.